Hello guys and welcome back to another video. In this video we are going to start with a whole new series on the legal maxims. We have already finished with the administrative law series and also with the environmental law series. In case you all want me to make any specific videos on this past series, please make sure you all put up the suggestions in the comment section down below. But today we are going to start with the legal maxims. Now, the word maxims is derived from the word axioms. The word axioms means any statement which is considered to be true without any further proof. Now, the source of a legal maxim can be considered to be as the court, as most of the maxims are derived from various courts. Therefore, various judgments which are given by these courts can be considered to be as legal maxims. But it should be understood that all judgments cannot be considered to be as maxims, because it's very important that these maxims are universally accepted by all the courts. Hence, all the judgments cannot be considered to be as legal maxims. These maxims cannot stand all alone, as they need to be backed up with various principles, and therefore these maxims sort of form like a statute status. If we look into the scope of these maxims, we can say that these maxims can be applied by various courts, whenever a decision is difficult to make, or when a court needs a full and final answer to give out any such judgment. Furthermore, if we try to look into the history of the maxims, we can see that in the ancient times, court referred to maxims that because there weren't any parliamentary body to formulate laws, and therefore these people used maxims to resolve disputes. These maxims were made by reason, necessity, and public interest. Therefore, the maxims acted as a remedy on the basis of the judgment. Now, whenever these legal maxims are into question, to write a legal maxim, you need to first of all obviously write the actual Latin maxim. Later on you write it English translation. You also mention which branch or which branches this maxim can be applied. Explain the maxim, backing up the principle which is given by the court, and also we are going to look into the exceptions to these maxims. Finally, it can be backed up by two or more cases. Now in this video we are going to look into a maxim called Nemo det est judex in propria sua causa. Now if you translate this into English, it means that no man can be judge of his own cause, and the branches to which it belongs is the administrative law branch. If you have looked into our past videos on the administrative law series, you must have noticed in the video of natural law justice or natural justice, when we look into the three principles, that is audi alteram pulchrum, reasoned decisions, and rule against bias, and therefore this particular maxim belongs to the rule against bias. So basically the main purpose of this maxim is the neutrality of the judge. Therefore, it must be made sure that the judge or the deciding authority is neutral in nature, as it is important that the judge gives an unbiased judgment. Hence, it should be made sure that the deciding authority or the judge has no interest in the case, as if the judge has any interest in the case, it will lead to a biased judgment. In the chapter of the natural justice in the administrative law series, we have already learnt about various kinds of bias, some of which are the personal bias, pecuniary bias, etc. But if you all want to research more on it, I have also mentioned cases over there. You all can look into the description where I have already mentioned the link to this administrative laws natural justice video. Now we are going to look into few cases supporting Nemo det judex est in propria sua causa. After that, we are going to look into the exception to this maxims. Therefore, let's look into the first case of Grand versus Dime Grand Canal versus Grand Function Canal Company. In this case, Dime filed a case against Grand Function Company, where they gave the judgment before the Vice Chancellor of the court, where they gave a decision in the favor of Dime. The appeal was sent by the Grand Function Court to Chancellor Court. From Vice Chancellor Court, the case went further to the Chancellor's Court, and the decision of the Vice Chancellor was reversed, favoring the Grand Junction Canal Company. The appeal was further moved to the House of Lords, wherein it was found that Lord Cottenham, the one who decided the case in the Chancellor's Court, had shares in the Grand Junction Canal Company. Therefore, the House of Lords decided that the justice must not only be done, but undoubtedly manifestly seen to be done. Therefore, it was held that no man can be judge of his own cause. Hence, it was seen that Lord Cottenham, who decided the case in the Chancellor's Court, had a pecuniary bias. Next, let's look into an Indian case of Mohapatra versus the state of Orissa. Now, in this case, Orissa government decided to constitute a committee for finalization of a textbook of an author to be distributed to schools. One book was selected. It was learned that author whose book was selected was also the one who was in the selection committee. Therefore, this makes him personally interested in selecting the book, okay, because it was his own book. Mohapatra filed a suit in which it was decided that no man can be judge of his own cause. If you all want more cases on this particular maxim, you all can refer to various cases which I have discussed on the administrative law. I have also provided timestamp below there, so you all can refer to the case of A.K. Krayappa versus Union of India. You all can also refer to the case of Nageshwar Rao versus APSRTC. Now let's look into the exceptions to this maxim and the cases where the maxim will not be applicable. For this particular maxim, the maxim will not be applicable in the case of necessity. Now, this necessity can be such that without the personal bias or without applying any sort of bias, it would have caused greater harm if the unbiased rule was applicable. Therefore, let's look into the case of Union Carbide Corporation versus Union of India. In this case, we notice that there were some shares of the Government of India in the Union Carbide Corporation. Due to negligence, there was a leakage of a poisonous gas. Government of India should look into the matter. No other authority can take up the matter outside the territory except the Government of India. Now that's all for today's video, guys. I'll see you around in the next video. Thank you so much.